The Magic Soccer Ball Adventure. One time, in the small town of Willow Grove, there was a soccer team called the Willow Wizards. They were a ragtag bunch of kids with big dreams and even bigger hearts. Their coach, Coach Tessa, had taught them everything they knew about soccer, but there was one thing she never mentioned, a secret hidden right in their old equipment shed. One sunny Saturday, after another practice full of wild kicks and comical falls, the youngest player, Danny, stumbled upon a dusty, colorful soccer ball tucked away in the back corner of the shed. The ball was unlike any he'd ever seen. It shimmered with a glow, almost as if it had a life of its own. In sparkly letters, it said, "The Magic Soccer Ball, ready for adventure." As he held it, Danny felt a strange tingling in his fingers. He showed the ball to his teammates, who were just as mesmerized. "Do you think it really is magic?" whispered Benny, the team's goalie. "Only one way to find out," said Mia, the captain, with a mischievous grin. She gave the ball a strong kick, and before they knew it, a swirl of colors surrounded them, whisking them off their feet. When the colors faded, they found themselves in the middle of a massive stadium with a roaring crowd. They looked down and realized they were wearing uniforms, Brazilian uniforms. "Whoa, where are we?" gasped Danny. A loud cheer erupted, and a voice boomed over the loudspeakers, "Welcome to the World Cup final. Brazil versus Germany." The Willow Wizards looked at each other in disbelief. They were in Brazil, at the World Cup, and somehow, they were playing for Brazil. As the game began, the Wizards fumbled a bit. They weren't used to playing at such a high level. The German team seemed unbeatable, passing the ball around them with precision. But just when it seemed hopeless, Mia whispered, "Guys, remember all those tricks Coach Tessa taught us?" Suddenly, Danny zoomed around like a flash, blocking a pass with his super speedy footwork. Benny, with his incredible reflexes, made a heroic dive to save a goal that had the crowd on their feet. The Wizards were unstoppable, playing with all their might, and, in the end, they helped Brazil win. As the crowd cheered, the ball began to glow again, and before they could even celebrate, they were swept away to another famous game, this time in snowy Russia. "Welcome to the Moscow Derby," the announcer declared as the Wizards blinked, shivering a bit. They were now in Moscow, playing in a historic game between Spartak Moscow and Dynamo Moscow. The snow made the field slippery, and the Russians were tough opponents. But the Wizards adapted fast. Danny made snow angels during halftime to keep warm, Benny used the snow to slide into incredible saves, and Mia scored an amazing goal by kicking the ball so hard it went through a tiny gap between two defenders. Once they won the match, the ball glowed again and transported them across the ocean to the United States, to a bustling stadium with thousands of fans waving flags and singing. They had landed in the middle of the Women's World Cup final. Mia could barely believe it. She'd always dreamed of playing in a Women's World Cup match. This time, they were playing as the United States against England, and the game was tense. Both teams were incredibly skilled, and the score was tied with only seconds left on the clock. In a moment of brilliance, Mia launched the ball toward Danny, who used his signature footwork to weave past defenders and score the winning goal. After the game, as the crowd cheered and the confetti fell, the ball glowed again, whisking them back to Willow Grove's soccer field. They landed with a soft thud, surrounded by their familiar surroundings. Coach Tessa was waiting for them, hands on her hips but with a grin. "Had a good time?" she asked, raising an eyebrow. The team was speechless for a moment, then they all erupted into excited stories, each trying to tell Coach Tessa about their wild adventures. She just laughed and said, "Well, looks like the magic soccer ball has chosen you as its new champions." Remember, the world is full of amazing games, but the real magic is what you make of it, right here at home. The Willow Wizards nodded, already dreaming of their next magical match. And as they left the field that day, Danny gave the ball a wink. He knew this was only the beginning of many more magical soccer adventures.